Mic testing, 1, 2. Mic testing.
Go to the Bilderberg meeting in Switzerland that we held under an iceberg, brother.
We're not going to blood clot tonight.
Oh my God, he on X Games mode.
Free enterprise, you dig?
I refuse to answer any questions under the grounds that they have made incriminate me.
Let's go. Oh yeah. Let's get it in. Let's go. What are we going to be talking about tonight? We're going to be talking about the thankless task of being a little league coach in the hood. I got a little bit of experience with this. Got a lot of bit of experience with it. With the recent events of Coach Mike with the DFW Elite Dogs, that is a team that I played against when I was coaching or coached against. We're going to get into it and figure out how something like that happens, man. How is it that a coach ends up losing his life at a little league football game? The brother of NFL player Aqib Talib is the accused. I think their brother's name is Yaqub Talib, is accused of killing this coach. And I want to put something into perspective. For anyone who's never coached Little League sports, or for someone who's never been in that environment, I'm going to put it into perspective for you. Because based on what I've seen, this is not something that, should it happen? Absolutely not. But the fact that it did happen, I'm not surprised. And I'm going to explain why. So, you know, when I first heard about this story, when I first heard that this coach was shot and killed at this game, and then I saw the video, it reminded me of a few situations that I had been in. So for those of you who don't know who I am Wrench Turner. I've been around the YouTube space for a pretty good while, supported a lot of brothers behind the scenes. Spent quite a few $1,000s trying to support a lot of brothers. The way that I came to the manosphere It's through Brother O'Shea Duke Jackson. And now I moderate for a few channels. Before his passing, I moderated for our dear brother Kevin Samuels. Do some moderating for the lead attorney. Shout out to Helmet Chili. What's going on, brother? Shout out to everybody else who's in the room. But I've been around the YouTube space for a while. And the part of the manosphere that I typically hang out in has to do with growth and leadership, coaching brothers behind the scene on what career moves to make and how to really get out here and get after a bag. But tonight, what we're going to talk about is the situation with the coach that got, unfortunately, lost his life here in Dallas coaching a Little League football game. So I'll go ahead and get into the story. I coached the lineman in the Select Football League. If you don't know what Select is probably one of the most competitive forms of youth sports that you can coach. So I coached on a team in the Select League. This is not like a YMCA or a youth league where everybody gets a trophy. This is a league where you either make the team or you don't. And if you don't make the team, there's no crying. We'll pat you on the back, say, hey, appreciate you trying out. We'll, hand you off to your mom, and, you all can get in the car and find another team to play for. What's going on, Brother Blockavelli? And while I was coaching on this team, a few things happened. I noticed a lot of different things, but whenever we would play teams in the hood, so we go to Pleasant Grove, we go to Oak Cliff, we go to South Dallas. Sometimes when you go to Mesquite, what you tend to find is these games, especially if they are in some of these impromptu fields where it looked like somebody just dug out the sidelines and dug out the yard marks with a garden tiller. A lot of times that is the only thing that's happening in these neighborhoods. So you will have people who have absolutely nothing to do with the football game. They don't have a child that's playing. They don't have a little cousin that's playing. They just show up to these games, and it's a hood event. And what you have is sometimes you have people betting on these little league games. So since you have people betting on these little league games, it turns from being something that is for the kids and meant, and initially it's something that's meant to teach the kids a lesson on how to be humble winners and a lesson on how to take an L. Football is a good example of what life is going to throw at you, right? So that is what football is supposed to be. But I'm going to give you the reality of it when you're coaching on some of these leagues. Now, the team that I coached for, we had a lot of kids that played on this team that were really good. I think we had about 60 kids try out. Probably about 35 to 40 actually made the team. And for some reason, some of the kids that were on this team probably shouldn't have been, but they were there. I didn't ask any questions. My job was to coach the linemen and to get these young brothers up to speed. Now, we played a team that is in the heart of the hood. It's one way in, one way out. When we first walked onto the field, the first thing I noticed is that the scoreboard was shot out. Home and visitor. They had trap music playing in the background. It was a bunch of random adults already at the field. Some had snuck in because they didn't want to pay the gate fee. There was a police officer there, but he was smoking a black and kind of hanging out with the dudes. And I figured he was from that neighborhood. So we were pretty much in the trenches, in the belly of the beast, getting ready to play this football game. And as we got to this field and we got stretched out, we got the kids all lined up and we were getting ready to stretch out. I was coaching the 12-year-olds. And as we were stretching the kids out, I smelled a familiar smell that I would always recognize to this day. Somebody was blowing mid. Somebody was chiefing. And then I looked around and I said, wow, it's not just somebody, everybody is smoking. So this is a little league football game. I'm a coach. We got the kids out in the middle of the field stretching, and it's grown adults smoking weed. The police was out there. He wasn't paying attention. He was halfway sagging. His gun looked like it was probably halfway by his thigh. He was out there trying to be cool. He was smoking a black. We was in the trenches, bro. We're in the trenches. But I said, you know what? The team that we're going to play is a pretty well-known team. The team was called The Truth. This was Deion Sanders' team. Everybody wanted to run their team against Deion's team. So even though I was smelling weed in the air, and even though the police looked like he was a little bit too relaxed for my liking, I said, well, you know what? We're here. I'm familiar with this environment. I know to keep my head on a swivel. And if anything pops off, I know that we're going to get the kids away from danger. No problem, right? But while I was stretching the kids up, I looked up and I saw somebody pouring drinks. So now we got weed in the air. We got Hennessy going around. Styrofoam cups getting poured up. Somebody had like 2 big cups from a Quick Trip full of ice, and they were kind of putting this ice in these little bitty red party cups, and they were pouring Hennessy in it. This is at a 12-year-old, what we call 12U football game in the hood. One way in, one way out. At the concession stand, it wasn't your traditional hot dogs, nachos, turkey legs maybe. There was a trailer out front and the guy was smoking turkey legs, and I think he was selling them for like $30 a pop. He had no bottom teeth, which had showed me that this guy had lived a rough life. But I said, you know what? This is a youth football game, and I'm going to take in the full experience. We're going to play against Deion Sanders' Truth team here in the hood, and we're going to give them a good run for their money. I'm up for the competition. And then I heard somebody say, I can't believe they ran out of gizzards. And I thought to myself, who serves gizzards at a kid's football game, man? They're selling gizzard baskets at the concessions at this football game. Interesting times. But I said, you know what? I am built for this. The kids are looking forward to this game. We are going to get out here. We're going to put on a good show. We're going to beat Deion Sanders' team. We're going to take the tournament trophy, and it'll all be over with. So we began to stretch, and as we began to stretch, the music got louder, and one of the teams that wasn't getting ready to play yet, they came onto the field, and they started to stretch. And I said, wow, this is interesting. It's not y'all trying to play yet, but yeah, this is how it goes down here. Just kind of loosely, just people just walking around, smoking, drinking at this kid's football game. The coaches on the other team, not Deion's team, but on the other team, they were sagging. A lot of them had the D-Town drop shag cut. I think I saw one of them with a pistol. I was like, okay, I know what this is. One of the coaches, Coach Joe, Hispanic guy from West Dallas, leaned over and said, hey, Coach. I said, man, what's up? He said, hey, you got your shit on you, fool? I said, I got it in the car. I'm not sure we would need it on the field for the game, but yeah, I'm strapped. Okay, cool. So the tournament gets ready to start. The tournament starts, they do the kickoff, and we begin to play this game. Now, I want to explain something to you. While I was coaching, this is something that I enjoyed doing because I wanted to give something back to the kids. And if I'm going to be honest, a lot of the kids that I will pick up and take to practice, they just finished up their senior year of high school. A lot of them went on to play college football, some Division I, Division II. Super proud of those kids. The efforts that we put in to coach these kids up was very well worth it. I'm glad that we took the time to do that. Now, some of the kids, they come from the hood. They little pookies. A lot of them got in trouble. One of our kids, unfortunately, lost his life to gun violence. He was accidentally shot. So rest in peace to him. But we had a couple other kids that somehow made the team, and I couldn't figure out for the life of me how is it that these kids made the team? And I won't be on here long, but I'm going to tell y'all this story. We were playing this tournament, and we were neck and neck. We would score, they would score. We would score, they would score. The parents it was complete pandemonium. The parents on one side, some of them were halfway on the field. The ref was trying to keep them off the field. The parents on our side, they were kind of screaming back and forth across the field. We're getting into it with the other coaches. This was complete pandemonium. This was hood nigga shit. So as this game proceeded on, we took the lead, and we were maintaining the lead. So we were up by 1 touchdown, then we were up by 2 touchdowns, then we were up by 3 touchdowns. And I looked over and I said, wow. We were a throwing team. We had a really good running back and we had some really good receivers. My son was a wide receiver. I looked up and this kid that we call Spuddy, funny looking little kid, was bad as hell. His teachers would call us, hey man, he's acting up. Can somebody come up to the school and talk to him? No problem, we'll come up there and talk to him. Kid had a really big helmet, really big shoulder pads, little bitty legs, and some really big cleats. And I looked over on the field and I asked the coach, I said, hey man, why is Lil Spuddy in the slot? This kid didn't start, but he was on the field. And this is what happened when you have Pookie coaches. So Pookie coached football, just in case y'all didn't know. Pookie will coach some Little League football. But I looked over and I said, hey man, why is Lil Spuddy in the slot? If you're not familiar with football, if you are running out of a throwing formation, the slot receiver is not on the edges, but he's somewhat offset of your receivers that are positioned the furthest out. Either way, Spuddy couldn't catch a cold. And if it was COVID, Spuddy couldn't catch COVID. But I couldn't understand for the life of me why this kid was on the field, knowing that he didn't know the plays, couldn't catch, didn't really know what was going on. Not a problem. So we get ready to run the play. Spuddy is in the slot. All of our other starters are on the field. Quarterback lines up behind the center, goes through his cadence. The ball gets hiked. Spuddy gets jammed off the line. Both cleats go straight in the air. He starts crying. We had a really good line. We had some really big kids. Spuddy had time to get up, kind of run and swing at the kid that knocked him down. Did a light jog across the middle of the field, right where the linebackers are. The quarterback throws the perfect spiral, dings Spuddy in the helmet, and then he gets blown up by the linebacker and cries louder. So I looked over at the coach and I said, hey coach, why was Spuddy in the slot? And with his jet black lips and his dreads that had lint in them, and I think he had some shells on him at the time, and with his jaundiced eyes, he leaned over and he looked at me and said, and I want to make sure y'all hear this, so I want to stop the music. I asked the coach, why was Spuddy in the slot? He's not a starter. He don't understand the plays. Why is Spuddy in the slot? He looked at me with his jaundiced eyes, his crusty black lips. His eyes were glossed over. I can tell he had indulged in some marijuana. And this Pookie coach looked me dead in my eyes and said, hey, coach, I went ahead and put him in the game. I said, man, why would you put him in the game? And this damn fool said, because his mama be squirting. Yeah. True story. So that is what you have to look forward to. You coaching in the hood. Is it unfortunate? Yes, it is. Is it fair to the kids? No, it's not. But, you know, it happens. I can remember I left practice one day and I had a Dodge Ram. I was taking all of the kids back to their apartments. And I got a text at first. I said, well, I'll check that later after I drop the kids off. And then my phone rang. I looked down. I said, wow, what happened at the field? I got these coaches calling me. So I called them back. Hey, man, what's going on? Yeah, man, just trying to see if you could let me borrow $20. I done ran out of gas. Oh, no, man. Oh, no, man. Lady S, how you doing, sister? Glad to have you here. What we're talking about is coaching in the hood, and it is a thankless and dangerous undertaking sometimes. To do a quick recap, rest in peace to Coach Mike with the DFW Elite Dogs. Lost his life at a youth football game, unfortunately. The accused is the brother of retired NFL defensive back, Aqib Talib. He's not the one that actually did it, but his brother is accused of allegedly. He's the one who allegedly pulled the trigger. But the coach did lose his life. His son was at the field when this happened. Why this matter and why I'm going live, I coached against that team and that particular coach when I was coaching sports. Really good football team. They put out good talent every year. But yeah, Pookie coached football. Pookie needed gas money. Pookie put a player in the game because he had some kind of situation going on with his mom. Interesting times. Interesting times. I have so many stories about coaching football, man, and trying to give back to these kids. And the only thing that would get in the way a lot of times is some of the parents. I remember we were coaching the game. I coached the linemen, so all of the big boys. And I could hear a lot of commotion behind me. A lot of commotion. I didn't pay attention. That's not uncommon. I thought they were cheering for the game. And all of a sudden, I heard somebody say, well, you scream at them in practice. Why are you not screaming at them now? And I turned around, and it was one of the kids' parents, a sister. And she was talking to me. And the funny thing about this, the same coach that put Spuddy in the slot kind of gave me a look, and I knew, okay, well, you're kind of messing with her too. But the trick bag is her son that was playing, his dad was also there, kind of like a part-time coach who would help out. And so I'm stuck in this situation where I'm like, all right, I got a parent in the stands talking shit. I got a coach that she's messing with, and her baby daddy is kind of like a part-time coach too, and we are all here at this game. And so I said, wow, that's a hell of a situation to be in, but bitch, yeah, this probably ain't the time because my sister is also in the stands. So you may want to find some act right real quick because it can go down in here. But given that situation, I immediately went to her baby daddy, who one of his kids was on the team. And I said, hey, man, you might want to talk to your baby mama because my sister in the stands and you know how this is going to play out. So he started talking to her. The coach walked over. Hey, man, what's going on? I said, hey, bro, y'all better get y'all bitch. Because I'm telling my sister's going to mop the floor with her. She already on her way over here. But this is some of the things that happen, man, when you try to give back to kids and you know that a lot of times their fathers aren't there, so you want to stand in the gap and stand in the need and try to be a resource to these kids. But the parents, man, the parents, I've never had issues with the ref. I rarely have issues with the other coaches. It would always be the parents. And it's even worse when you play in the hood. There were times when we would go to a field and you're thinking about we're marching onto the field with 12-year-old kids and the entrance into the field is lined with adults, niggas everywhere. So you think about the mentality of a 12-year-old kid. They're like, man, we're walking into this field, we're walking into this stadium, and we're seeing all these random adults around. They don't have on the team's apparel. They high, drunk, talking loud, country. The turf on the field is coming up, so it's like you're playing on carpet. But that's what makes these kind of situations so dangerous. You got Pookie and Ray Ray coaching teams. How can you maintain discipline on a football team when even at a personal level, you can't maintain discipline? What can you teach a child if you don't have any self-discipline yourself? How can you teach a child the man code? How can you teach a child to have complete control over his emotions when you as a coach don't even have control over your emotions? I've seen so many times where we had a team where the team owner was going to allow these kids to wear uniforms that they have been using for probably the last 4 or 5 seasons. Me and another coach that owned a Sonic franchise, he said, hey man, I got the hook up on some jerseys. I said, say man, I'll go ahead, I'll pay for the sublimation to get the numbers and the last names put on them. We paid for that, then we doubled back. We said, hey man, let's go ahead and get them new pants too. Cool, we added pants to it. Then he said, hey man, let's go ahead and get them, spat. Let's get them cleat socks. Get them stockings, man. We went and got the kids suited and booted up, paid for the logos for the helmet the whole day. I painted all of the helmets, put them all together, put them in the back of my truck. We put them together one day before the game, and our kids went out there and they looked good, man. So that is the part that I enjoy, but the part that makes it dangerous is when you're coaching against Pookie. When you're coaching against Pookie. We had team fees, things that needed to be taken care of because we're not making money from this. We're not, we're paying for the field. Anything that comes off the gate goes to paying for the field. We're not getting paid for this as coaches. We're just trying to give back to these kids, man. And that's the sad part about it is, you know where your heart is. Your heart is in the right place. You want to do something that's worthwhile. You want to be able to see these young brothers. You want to be able to see these young men make it all the way through middle school, all the way through high school, get an opportunity to go, get into higher education. But the whole while you're doing it, the hood is throwing tomatoes at you. The parents are throwing tomatoes at you. I'm like, lady, this is almost free daycare. We would have parents who would come and drop their kids off at practice and burn off. When it came time to game day, we would have to pick a lot of kids up. My truck used to be packed with kids. Yeah, Helmet Chili, man, it's a dangerous undertaking, man, because you're dealing with crazy ass parents. You're dealing with hood ass coaches. A lot of times you go to other neighborhoods, man, you don't have anything to do with these neighborhoods. You are just a coach with kids showing up to play football and they gangbanging. You got grown dudes throwing up gang signs during the game. It's a cold lick. But the saddest part about it is when stuff like that happens, when a situation like what Coach Mike went through, rest in peace, when it happens in front of these kids. So you can imagine the trauma that a kid takes with him when he watches it on both sides, when he watches a coach lose his life on the football field. This is Little League sports. We're coaching kids. How in the hell do it get to a point to where gunfire is erupting? But I'm going to tell y'all how that happened. This is a part of the game that a lot of people don't know. When it comes to Little League sports, grown-ass adults bet on these games. $1,500, $2,000, $2,500, $5,000. So hopefully that puts it into perspective. Because it's hard to imagine gunfire erupting when it's all about the kids. See, but when it starts to be about currency, when it starts to be about money, it makes a lot more sense. Because ain't nothing happening during that game. If you take money out of the equation, nothing is happening during that game that would cause somebody to lose their life. Nothing that important. This is supposed to be about the children. It's supposed to be teaching life skills. It's supposed to be teaching how to interact with other young men that you don't know, how to get out on the field of battle it out, leave everything you got on the field, shake hands, do a group prayer together, break out, go home, get ready for school in the morning. Keep your grades up so you can play again next weekend. That's what this is supposed to be about. But our community is broken in the worst way possible. So here in the manosphere space, when we start talking about leadership and headship and why it's important to have Black fathers around, why it's important for men to be leading the community, you see it on a lot of different fronts. Some of the coaches that are out here coaching, yeah, they may have some sort of interest in the kids, but for a lot of them, it's slim pickings with the single mothers out there. I've seen coaches who have a wife at the field, side chick at the field, 2, 3 parents that they may be sleeping with at the field. And I looked around, I was like, man, this is supposed to be about kids. How the hell did I about this shit? But here we are, and it's not the kid's fault, so I'm gonna see it through. One of my kids that lost his life, man, God rest his soul, came from a pretty poor background, single mother, had a few young siblings. The last time I saw him, he climbed up in my truck, and he was messing with the radio, messing with the AC controls, just messing with everything. 12-year-old kid, messing with everything. And I said, hey, man, relax. He was a hell of a football player, chubby kid, one of my linemen. Actually got a picture of him. You know, God rest his soul, man. Hope he resting in paradise, but hell of a kid. Could have been an amazing young man, but unfortunately, him and some friends were kind of playing with a firearm. Firearm went off, took his life. He was taken off of life support on Christmas Day of last year. Tough sledding, man. Tough sledding. I want to try and bring up the news clip of I'm gonna bring up this news clip of the whole situation that happened at the field, just to kind of loop everybody in. I know everybody's not local, but my suspicion, they made it to TMZ. They actually showed the whole video. I won't show it. It's pretty rough to watch, but let's do this.
An arrest warrant reveals the deadly shooting at a Little League football game started with an argument over the score. A popular football coach was killed in Lancaster over the weekend. The suspect is the brother of a former NFL quarterback, Aqib Talib. Police say that Yaqub Talib shot coach Mike Hickman multiple times in front of those players, including Hickman's own son. Now, multiple witnesses say that Talib got upset with those referees and then started the brawl. Aqib's lawyer issued this statement saying his client was present when this unfortunate incident occurred and is, quote, distraught and devastated over the terrible loss of life. His brother was accused of murder but turned himself in, and his attorney suggests the shooting was in self-defense.
Of course it was. So that's what we're dealing with. Once again, rest in peace, Coach Mike. I'm not going to be on here too long, man. I wanted to touch base on that, man, because senseless. Blockavelli, you're 100% right. Pookie refs, too. No, Lady S, his own brother didn't kill him. Aqib Talib is he's retired from the NFL, but he's from Richardson, which is a suburb of Dallas. Played for Richardson Berkner High School. He coaches, he actually owns a team, but does some coaching with kids, Little League football. And his brother is apparently one of the coaches. They got into an altercation at the football field. Aqib Talib, the retired NFL player, his brother draws a weapon and take Coach Mike's life. Oh, okay, you in Dallas. So yeah, Aqib Talib played in Richardson. Played for the Broncos, played for the Dolphins. Played for a couple other teams too. But just wanted to stop and have a chat with y'all, man. Give y'all my experience of coaching in these type of environments. Some of the stuff that goes on, both on the field, off the field, a lot of extra stuff. It's almost like high school all over again. A lot of times you get a lot of these single mothers in one centralized place. The rumors start, the drama starts. The team mom don't like this parent. This parent don't like this parent. This parent don't like this coach. Just a lot of bullshit, but I ain't gonna take up too much of y'all time. I know it's late. And I'm gonna get up out of here, man. I appreciate y'all joining the stream. We're right at about the 37-minute mark. I'm gonna go ahead and shut it down. Hey, man. Big bro gonna catch up with y'all. Y'all be good. Bet. Yes, sir. Appreciate you joining, brother. Help me chillin'. As always, brother, I appreciate you.